Welcome to SMS on Mondays, presented by AgTech GIS. In this feature, we're going to discuss a couple of different ways of handling boundaries. In our previous session, we talked about reorganizing farms and fields, and we actually took 4 field pieces, pictured here in the bottom left-hand side, and created one field entity. However, we didn't deal with the actual field boundaries, so here's one technique. You will notice that in our management tree on the left-hand side, we do have a copy of each of the individual boundaries, so that we can treat them as a field piece. If we look at this all together, however, we have a 4-part boundary. I'm going to create a new map from that. In this particular field representation, which I'm going to turn red, we see our 4 individual field pieces. We can treat this as the field boundary, and most equipment will recognize one field entity with 4 field pieces. But some equipment prefers you to have only a single polygon in a given field. So let's change this field to conform to that. For me to make a new field, I don't want to change anything that I have in the tree because there are reasons that I might want to have individual boundaries stored as well. So I'm going to create a new boundary layer. This is going to open up an editing window in SMS, which is actually like putting a clear transparency over the map underneath on our desktop. I'm first going to copy from layer from the right-hand menu, and it will guide me through selecting which polygons I wish to bring into the new field designation. I hit next, and I'm going to copy the spatial data only. Finish. So now I have a copy of the field boundary with all 4 pieces. Now there's a whole bunch of different techniques, but let's do one that I call patching genes. From our left-hand menu, I'm going to add a new polygon, and I'm going to draw over top of this another polygon. And you'll notice I'm just putting a big patch over those divisions in the field. So there's the patch I've put over these open seams. Next, I'm going to select all of my polygons, and I'm going to choose the merge function. Now, all of a sudden I can see some red lines in the middle, and I see some gray lines, so let's select our field boundary, and you'll notice that the black line is our new field boundary, with the red lines showing from the original boundary. It is a separate layer. We can see through our new boundary to our old one, so don't get confused between the two things. If we look down here, we'll notice that we have another little split in our boundary right now. So I'm going to repeat that. Add new polygon. I'm going to draw a polygon like so, and then I'm going to select all of it, and I'm going to merge to check and see if that is correct. I'm going to select on the whole field boundary, and I'll notice that my new field boundary contains only the perimeter lines, and the red lines, again, are our original ones that exist on the layer underneath. If I want to further fine-tune my boundary, I can zoom into the edges, and instead of looking at it as polygons, I can change so that I can see each and every one of the points on the line. Editing points is a matter of selecting and deleting points, which will then allow my line to just be this outside. So I removed a couple of points that were here and left my perimeter points. I'm going to zoom out again and see if there's any other little fine tunings I can do. Let's look at the side over here. So you'll notice that in my original lines would have had this space in between it. We drew the patch, but it left a couple of points on the perimeter which I'm going to delete. I now have a straight line edge. I'm going to check the other side. Same thing. Let's select these 2 points and delete them, allowing us to have a straight line edge. I'm going to go back from looking at the vertex view or to the region view. I'm going to select my entire polygon, and I will see that my total acres are now 93. Let's do 2 things. Let's save a copy of this. We've already got this field saved as individual fields. Let's save a copy of these 4 pieces now merged into one. I'm going to do what I call a double save. First, I'm going to set the field boundary. This is a procedure whereby we basically tell the program that this is the official field boundary. This is the boundary that's going to be exported whenever we send out to the equipment. I'm going to accept that. I'm also going to do File Save As, and I'm going to save a copy of this boundary under a specific year as well. And in this case, I'm going to save it to 2013. My historical boundaries were different, but this year forward, it's going to be a single field. I'm going to say OK, and now I can close. 2 things we will notice when we go back to the management tree. Underneath 2013, we will see a copy of this newly configured single boundary. We will also notice that when we select A1 to 5, that boundary designation has been glued to our new field name. So that is creating a single field polygon out of multiple field pieces and saving as the set field boundary, as well as saving a copy of that to a given cropping year, all done in SMS.